Mm-hmm. Yep. September the 13th and 14th, 2017. And then his sentence was March 28th, 2018.
Also, while the accused was giving his testimony, the entire time he said that Champ took him as a fact and cut his throat. That was the first sign of attack. But when he was questioned by the when he was redirected and questioned by Champ's lawyers, he stated that his first cut was to the left of his neck.
I think, and those, I'm not a legal expert. I mean, obviously, I think we all see the misjustices happen. It seems like a lot of times, like you have a always else judge who's want to make a name for herself, and you can see this stuff. Police accounts and how black practices and that. We have a lot of different narratives here in this state. So I don't know if this tragedy to say it's typical in African American and criminal justice system. In fact, that even in the free time, the judge have the authority to basically levy any kind of punishment. The fact that 35 is just pretty serious. That's really surprising. The only thing I can think of is when we have a problem, someone really hurt, something like that, typically, or typically, in this case, like somebody already in the
Mm-hmm. She did.
or even
She did.
because like I said, I've already reached out to the Attorney General or what you have him. And I think now that I have a chance to speak to you all, I want to see what you want to see. I want to see if you would delay the process more, or if she would take it up to the process. I just think it's breaking my heart because we all been having this conversation and there's people inside the prison because that my father and things like that. We should be condemned. But it's again, it's America, it's criminal justice reform that we all and so many other politicians speak about. We have to take a seat. Let's consider.
No, his state ID number is another number. Cortland Linnell Turner. It's the state of New York. And then on top of that, he has heart condition. He's been having it before he went in, and they was about to put him on a heart monitor before he went in. So his thing was, he didn't want to keep on continue. When he got for the sentence, we didn't think that he was going to get all that time. So when they gave him his time, they stopped his medicine when he went in. When he got into the prison, his eyesight started going out. They didn't know if he was having a stroke or a heart attack, and I had to put pressure by calling the governor's office, calling the warden, calling DOC. I had to keep putting all this pressure on them when the AC went out. I had to put pressure, calling about that, his health and everything. I had to put pressure because I'm like, at the end of the day, everybody that's in there don't mean that they're criminals. And huh?
But when we want to talk about justice, I tell everybody, my sister, that's what justice looks like. Y'all will never know, but she was released from prison just 2 weeks ago, June 30th. So I was on the other end of where you guys are, where I was speaking for justice for Marsha King. And just like Champ, we came from a church, a holiness church. My dad is a Pentecostal preacher, and we was taught to just pray about it. As a matter of fact, we came to the 5 a.m. prayer, and the mothers prayed while she was in trial. And so we prayed and we did everything else, and just like Champ, we went in court. We had an overzealous justice, a judge, the chief justice judge actually, who had it out for my sister, and she told my sister she found her guilty, even though nothing added up, and remanded her in custody the same day, as a matter of fact. And I started the fight by myself to push for my sister justice. So I went on Facebook and I began to talk about the case. I used to be in my emotions because I was angry at the world, I was angry at God, because I said we prayed in 5 o'clock prayer the whole week through trial. I remember those mothers, I used to call them old lady gang, because they'll meet you at the door together. And we had prayed so for my sister that I was hoarse the day she was remanded into custody. And when I came to let them know, I could barely even talk or move. I was just like, God, how did this happen? We came from a Pentecostal home. My sister didn't even have a traffic ticket. No traffic ticket, no background. We was a tight-knit family, all of that. We did everything right. But the one thing that I say that the church and the family forget to teach is about how to handle yourself correctly with the justice system. So what I did is, my parents, they wanted to keep it quiet. We don't want nobody to know that she in prison. Keep it quiet. Let's not talk about it. My sister I never forget Judge Jackson saying 100 months. I was sitting in court, I said, what is 100 months? What is 100 months? It was 8 years. He gave my sister 8 years. But what we did is, we fought. We wrote in on Judge Smith. Judge Smith, if y'all look it up right now, is a senior retiring judge. We fought her. I said to her, she is not God. She is not God. I kept saying that over and over. She is not God. She doesn't control my sister's life. My sister will not do 8 years in prison. I told Marsha when she was in there, she's not God. You're not going to do 8 years. And we started to fight while she was in Tidewater Regional Jail. We were fighting. We was writing letters. They stayed my sister's sentencing hearing 3 times. 3 times. And I tell everybody, don't wait till they find you guilty. You fight as soon as you see that there's something wrong. You speak up. So I started a fight with Marsha, and everybody said, I need you to fight for my sister. I need you to fight for my wife. I need you to fight for my dad. Y'all know how many people we fought for just from speaking up and free. I told them I lost all fear when they found my sister guilty and gave her 100 months. I have no fear of nobody. I went on Facebook, I called names. I called Joseph Kowski name. U.S. Attorney Joseph Kowski took my sister to prison for 100 months. Judge Smith took my sister away from her family and her child, a person that never been in trouble, and locked her up in federal prison. I said it. I earned the respect. Do y'all know right now the federal prison respect me? They tell people, don't call her. We don't want no fight with her right now. We'll let it go. Just don't call her. Because I told her, I'm not afraid of anybody. God is with me. And that's the thing that I'm trying to encourage y'all as the family. Fight for justice. Call her name. She was wrong. I read the transcript. I was outraged. How do you find a man, a suspect, in a matter of 4 minutes? 4 minutes, he's a suspect. They didn't secure the scene. It doesn't matter who or what he did. He was found guilty for being calm. If he had been upset, they said he was angry. He couldn't win. He was convicted because of brown skin. We got to call it what it is, y'all. We got to go back in the church. We're teaching us to pray, but we ain't teaching us how to fight. I had to fight by myself. I fought for my sister by myself. She got out 27 months early. from me fighting Judge Jackson. If my sister had not wrote that complaint up against Judge Smith, which her lawyer called me, he said, you and your sister just committed judicial suicide. You wrote up the Chief Justice. I told him again, she is not God. She's not God. And guess what they did? They took her out of the courtroom. If they had not taken my sister out of that courtroom, she would not be free right now. Because God convicted Judge Jackson hard. Judge Jackson had an open heart to hear God. And even when my sister, I tell people, my sister won on two ends of getting out of prison. No lawyer helped us, y'all. We learned it. That's why I have to use this claim, because they say I can swear y'all lawyers. We're not lawyers. I got fed up because I got a sister who walked away from her 1-year-old daughter who had never been in trouble and I didn't know what to do. Just like y'all, I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I was like, if I say this, they can give her enough time. But then I thought about it. I said, they can't do nothing else to me. They took my sister away from me. And they gave her 100 months. So I started on my journey and I fought and I spoke. We got a lady right now, y'all, Lisa Crow. A lady in federal prison who had stage 4 breast cancer. They refused to let her go. I spoke up for her in 6 months, she's out. That she's out on good behavior. Look it up, it's not heard of. There is no good behavior in federal prison. You do 85% or you file a motion. She's out on good behavior. Because I fought. And I told her, we didn't come this far to let you die. They told her 3 times she was going home and took it back. The 4th time I told her, you going home. She walked out 1 week before my sister, June 23rd. So this is why I'm telling y'all, y'all are the voice for champ. Call it out and say what it is. Don't sugarcoat it. Even right now, with my sister being out of prison, we still fighting for so many people. The phone rings. I was exhausted coming here. From the time we up and folks can't get us on the phone, they call us in the messenger. I need you and your sister. I need the 2 sisters for justice. They gave us the name. Y'all 2 sisters for justice. We was at a lawyer's office just yesterday in Norfolk. They got a case right now, a black man. The white girl was the CI, the target. He came in the picture by reason of just there. They turned the whole case and let her go, and he looking at 20 years. Are you serious right now? And I told his lawyer to his face, so you gonna sit here and let him go to prison for 20 years when he wasn't even, the police never saw him do anything wrong? So we accept this? Y'all, we have accepted it. We have come to a point as a culture, and I'm just saying what it is, what we accept. He got 20 years, but it wasn't right. But we let them do the 20 years. So when are we gonna come together and say to ourselves, this is not right? And we hold judges, we hold attorneys, we hold U.S. attorneys accountable. We have made these people God. We've made these lawyers God. The lawyer tells us what to do. And we do it and say, well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but okay, I'll do it. So you made them your God. My sister had like a big attorney. If y'all want to talk about a big attorney, she had Michael Big, but he did some time, to be honest. But she had him. You know what he told us? Y'all can't tell me that I know it all. So I tell people, putting a price and they'll pay, because people say, it was a paid lawyer or was it a lawyer point? It doesn't matter. What matters is the family. You hold them accountable. You make them do what's right. A judge can't do nothing beyond what the law is. Learn your rights. Learn the Constitution override anything. My sister did 4 years. She told me one time the worst thing they did was lock me up. She learned the Constitution. We don't go in there. We don't make anybody feel bad, but we hold them accountable. Lock people up when it's right to lock them up. Not just because their skin look like this. Even when their skin don't look like this, when it's right or wrong. Lisa Crow was white. And they didn't want to let out. They wanted her to die in prison. I told you, you're not going to die in prison. Right now, y'all, she getting better. When she was going, they was telling her 6 months or less. But now she got hopeless. I told her, yes, trust God. I told her, trust God for your healing. But let's fight for your freedom. And so she got her freedom. Now she's fighting for her healing and getting better every day. So all I want to say to the church, that this is a great church with great history. Let's not just teach our children to be on you. People came up against me. You know, my family didn't talk to me. I didn't care. But my dad respected me today. And he, just like Bishop Thurgood was, strict Pentecostal preacher, used to pray to speak up to. But he respected me. Because me and my sister adapted that saying, you ain't got to like me, but you're going to respect me. We respect it now. The whole family respect us and everybody calling us. I got a friend right now that I think they might need y'all help. But I stood alone, y'all. Shauna knows that's how I met her. I stood by myself, but I spoke the truth. And guess what? Today, I'm respected. I'm respected as somebody who fights for justice. It's my purpose. And that's the part that I embrace from God. We have to learn, ask God. But yes, too, let's teach us. It's too many of us in jail, y'all. We going to jail 20, 30 years. I refuse to let my sister do 100 months. I refuse to let my niece grow up without a mother. I'm not her mother. So that's what I would say to y'all. We've been on y'all side. We fighting with hope now. Champ don't come home. We fought there too, but we fought too. Champ got a reason for why he's there. But then it's a reason why y'all here too. It's a reason that Aaron can speak up and say, you know, a lot of people didn't know this. It happens. We know a lot of people that's in prison right now that don't deserve 20, 30, 40 years for non-violent crimes. So we fight. But I say to everybody, June 30, 2020, that's what justice look like. She walked out of excuse me, I teared up.
So, I understand. Sounds good.
I know how Champ feels. I'll never forget this church. As soon as I heard Thurgood, I knew I had to help because this church was good to me. The week of my trial, I'll never forget it. I came here and I prayed with the mothers because I didn't want to, I felt like Jesus. I asked God to let this cup pass for me. I didn't want to go to prison. I didn't want to do time. I knew I was innocent. And it was just in me that I had to speak up and say what it is, what I had to say. And it cost me my freedom, but at the end of the day, it allowed me to go into prison to see what really goes on. And I tell people all the time, mass incarceration looks just like me. It looks just like Portland. Just like him, I was never been in trouble. I was 36 years old, had my first child. And all it took was a close family member to say that I did something that I didn't do. They had absolutely no evidence, nothing but her word. And I believe in the justice system. So I believe when I came to prayer, I knew I was gonna walk out that courtroom. But as soon as Judge Smith found me guilty, one thing that she said that I never forget, she said, you're a danger to society. And that's the same thing that I can tell you. I know how Portland felt that day that he was, even when he was arrested. The day that he was arrested, he was already deemed a danger to society. And a lot of people think that when we vote these judges and when we vote these prosecutors in, they get up and say they're gonna do the right thing. I can tell you 9 times out of 10, they don't do the right thing. And it just warmed my heart when I saw you and someone was telling me that you were city councilman. We need you. Yes. We need you to speak up because it's not even only not just affecting black men, now it's affecting us. The system was put into place for a fair trial, a fair investigation. Portland never got that. I never received that. And if anybody in here think that somewhere is something off, that it had to be something, it don't have to be anything. All it has to be is the police officer starts with them that they feel like they have the right person, and it passes on to the prosecutor, and it passes on to the judge, because they don't want to feel like they made a mistake. And that's what happened to him, and that's what happened to me. I'm grateful to God because had it not been for my sister, I would still be in prison today. And let me tell you something, when you don't have people that's fighting for you and you don't have a strong faith in God, prison is a hopeless place. I was in one of the lowest security federal prison, and it was just like being in the penitentiary. And here I am, a woman that's never been to prison before, but yet I'm in here on a daily basis, having to fight for my life, and I'm sure on some levels, he's fighting for his life just to keep his sanity. But what I think that most importantly that needs to be addressed is that accountability needs to start with these judges. And we need the church, and we need you, and we need even just the public. When we see that there's an injustice, don't be afraid to call it out. Call it for what it is, because when you start calling it for what it is and start addressing the issue right where it is, then even if you don't have a quick resolution, we can start going toward progress. This judge, she shouldn't be a judge today. There's no reason why a first-time offender that was in a mutual combat fight should be serving 10 years of a 20-year sentence. But until we come together and continue to call this judge out and demand that this case is reopened and there's an independent investigation and this case is looked at fairly, then there's going to be another court. There's going to be another march. The system is going to keep on adding up more and more of us until the black family is no more the black family. So what I ask you all to do is that when you all walk out this meeting, that you all look at me and say, wow, if it can happen to her, it can happen to me. It can absolutely happen to you. I made up my mind when I went to prison that I was going to learn their law. If I learned their law that they use to incarcerate me, I can beat them. And that's what I did. But it took the faith of God, and it took the faith, the support of my sister, because it's kind of like Martha said, we came from the same background. Sanctified daddy, sanctified mother, preacher, missionary. And all they kept saying, keep praying about it, God won't do it, yeah, God won't do it, but I had to ask God to give me the wisdom and knowledge, and to give me favors with the right people. And God blessed that. When I came to my senses to see that Judge Smith was against me, I wrote a judicial misconduct up to the 4th Circuit. When I wrote that judicial misconduct to the 4th Circuit, the first time I lost, they denied it. And I came back and I redid it again. My sister sat down, she said, you're being too emotional. She said, we gotta stick to the facts, Marsha. Let's redo it, let's just stick to the facts. Let's talk about what she did wrong, how was she biased. We resubmitted that judicial misconduct 2 days before my sentencing date. I won. If I had stayed in Judge Smith's courtroom, Judge Smith was planning on giving me the first-time offender, mother of one, of a white-collar crime of $600,000, 14 years, at 85%. At that moment, I couldn't see that Grace stepped in with Judge Jackson, because all I wanted to know is, I'm innocent, I didn't do it. I don't want to go to prison. But the Lord had a way of working things out. He gave me grace and mercy my whole 5 years. And when the night before I walked out of prison, one of the white officers came and told me, she said, Ms. King, let me tell you why your time went hard. She said, the favor of God was on you. But what I ask you all to do is, let's support Courtney. Let's get behind him. Councilman, speak up for him. Speak up for him, Pastor, to your congregation. Encourage them to write to who they're supposed to write to. Let's make phone calls. Let's do whatever we have to do to let this judge know that we demand that he's treated fairly. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for justice. We're asking for what the Constitution guarantees us. And that's a fair trial. There's a fair, adequate investigation. That's all that we're asking for. And I also, on his behalf, even though I'm not his family, I understand. Let's write him and let him know that we're supporting him, that we're fighting for him. That's what's going to help him get through the day. Because right now, not only is he incarcerated, but he's dealing with being in a whole new environment. Your mind changes. I've been home for 2 weeks. It's a big adjustment. Just being out of prison, it took my sister to be understanding, because the world is moving so fast. Whereas in prison, there is no time. Time stops. But once you are released, time is moving. And I have to catch up. Not only do I have to catch up, but my conviction still hasn't been vacated. I still have a probation officer that I have to still speak with on a daily basis. But but I also have to deal with the issues of the trauma of being in prison and being separate from my daughter. So that's one thing additional that he's dealing with. So we have to uphold him in prayer, but we have to do works. So I ask you all just to support him. Let's write. Let's demand that this case, the Attorney General reopens the case. He has the power to do that. The prosecutor has more power than the judge. He can go in at any time, counsel him, and demand justice on behalf of Mr. Turner. All he has to do is file a motion, go in that courtroom. Whether the judge wants to do it or not, he can do it. That's one thing that I did learn while I was incarcerated. The prosecutor has more power than a judge. So if we demand that this case is reopened and there's a thorough and adequate investigation, and he sees the same flaws that really he never had to process, this indictment can be dismissed because he's gonna still need support when he walks out of prison.
Send you, hold on.
And thank y'all for listening.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys getting your so you get this
Isn't it? I might have to probably do it to the email. And I also have, the pretrial information too at home, but I got the hard copies of when the pretrial said how many years that they think would be.
I want to specifically ask, those items of D, there's 20 minutes.
how she just said it.
I think she started at 10. I think that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, the prosecutor is no longer there. Christian was the lawyer, but the prosecutor name is Ashley Coleman. She's no longer with Virginia Beach no more.
But Sally still there.
Yeah.
Who?
Sally.
That's the guy who came in. Right?
No, that was Coleman. That was her grandson. Her father-in-law. Yeah. Was the DA father-in-law. Daughter-in-law. Yeah. And they came in and when the guy Tommy was coming in there, because he was a former homicide detective with the police department. And he was there with them for 20 years. So when he got on the stand, he was the one that was talking about they didn't do their job right. And when he got there, the DA came in and sat in to help her out. He was on the thing, helping her out with the ask him and everything on his case. The daughter-in-law was the Ashley, the prosecutor.
He was looking out for her.
Yeah, he was helping her. Because she didn't know what to ask him. She didn't know what to ask him. They asked for a break in everything, so they could be able to go over questions to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they asked